Ethical non-monogamy. Just a fancy term for cheating or commitment issues. Am I right? At least that's what I see the most in online communities. I'm Silver Luna. I'm your local internet vixen, and this is my husband slash stag, Jesus.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us on this journey in my first episode of Lifestyle 101 as we dive into labels and why they're so important, especially as a beginner in the lifestyle. So, Jesus, tell me, why do you think labels are important?
Well, I mean, whenever we go into situations, so we just recently went into a party, right? We just recently came back from a hotel takeover, and I feel as we go into talking to other couples, they know exactly what we like and what we don't like. If they are somebody that is looking just for maybe their spouse to get laid and that's it, and they just want to watch, maybe they have some kind of stuff, like it's easier to identify with the labels really than it is to just say it out loud, because I mean you also get a little nervous, right? Like, oh, like, I want to tell them my secret, you know. What I
That's
mean, with at
true.
least with the labels, it's a little bit of oh, you don't know what that is, then never mind. I don't want you to do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and that's a good point because once, if you start talking about what you're into without knowing exactly what to call yourself, then you can start getting into the weeds. And then all of a sudden the person is uninterested because they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Like, and you don't want that. I mean, not that anybody will judge you, but I mean, at some point, if you never heard of those big things, sometimes, you know. But I mean,
It's
which I
true.
mean, but most labels are very. Once you're in the lifestyle, they're very known, and nobody really does know what that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. No, I think that like labels are probably the most important aspect of the lifestyle because it's like your first impression of a person, you know? The very first thing that you're going to know about somebody is whatever they call themselves. So if I walk up and I say that I'm a vixen, then that's going to immediately give you the impression that I might have a stag and that I'm in a committed relationship that's non-monogamous.
Of course, if you don't, you're hungry though. Because there's still some people out there that haven't done their homework in there. But I mean, that's educating, and that's a good icebreaker too. Oh, what is that? Like, what do you mean by Vixen Stack? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It could be an icebreaker. It just depends on where you are, I guess, or who you're talking to, if they're new or if they even do investigations. Some people just get in and been there for years, and they just
Yeah.
been been to enough parties, or they've been in for enough years that they don't care about labels, or they have so many other labels they already think about that they don't
Mm-hmm.
think about the new ones. As newer people come into the lifestyle, I feel newer labels get put in as well.
Yeah, and that's a lot of why I wanted to make this podcast because whenever you were showing me information about the lifestyle, it was kind of difficult to figure out what meant what, trying to figure out what all of the acronyms meant. Like, what is a dragon? It took a long time to know what that was, or
Oh
a
yeah.
bluefish.
A unicorn. That
Like,
was the first one you find out. A unicorn.
oh,
That's
a
like the
unicorn, yeah, but I feel
that's
like
like the
unicorn's
first
probably
thing,
the easiest to find
right?
out at the beginning because everybody,
It's looking for one.
every, there's a reason they're a unicorn,
Right?
but also there's a reason they're a dragon.
That's true. That's true. A good dragon is hard to find.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it is helpful knowing that those labels can give a good broad identity to a person. So like walking up to a bull, I know exactly what they're there for.
Right? Somebody called to sell a bull that you know exactly what they're calling themselves.
Right?
We definitely got into it. I like the labels. I mean, it took a while. We're still learning. I'm still learning new labels for us, right? Like, I mean, technically, and the beauty of the labels is they're very passable around, right? Like, it depends on the situation too, right? So, what situations like do you call yourself a hot wife?
Yes, yeah, it's fluid. So like I'm a vixen in the vixen stag relationship most of the time, but in the hot wife scenario, it would be like if we were going to the running of the bulls event.
Oh yeah.
That
You
would be
guys,
a hot
you
wife
guys don't know
moment.
what a running of the bulls is. It has nothing to do with toros. Just saying. Oh
Yeah,
man. But yeah, you will be a hot wife.
yeah, that would be a hot wife moment. Or if I were to go to a guy's room that I hooked up with in the past, and because we were at a party or something, and you go with me, or don't even accompany me, and I just go to his room and hook up with him, and then I come back, then that would make me a hot wife in that scenario. But all along the way, we're still Vixen
Does
Stag.
that make me a hot husband if I do that?
I think you're a hot husband no matter what.
Oh, stop it! But yeah, no, like so other labels that we find ourselves like that can be used to once in a while. You know, like at some point maybe you might be a unicorn one day to a couple. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean? I might be a dragon one day for a couple.
Hmm.
I might like
That's true. It's changing. It's always changing with your sexuality because my interests are always changing too. Like
yeah.
sometimes I might be more interested in girls, and other times I might be more interested in guys.
Yeah, no, and also our interest changes every day, really. I mean, some days we do want to do the halfway scenario. Some days it's just the two of us to begin with, just monogamy, another label,
Or monogamish. That's another
monogamish.
one.
Yeah, so monogamish. I mean, sometimes we do. Sometimes we go months without doing anything with anybody else because we just want to feel ourselves. So
Hmm.
we don't have to be in the lifestyle the whole time, but I mean, we are part of it. Whenever we feel like we want to be in it, we're in it. But I mean, to be honest, we like there's times that we're monogamish
Yeah.
that we don't think about anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially whenever we moved cross country, that was a moment where it was not fun to think about adding anybody else into the relationship. Like, we were just so happy and excited to be on our new journey together. Like, that's a good reason to take a pause. And I mean, anytime there's like any kind of concern or a lack in communication or a break in the communication, especially, like, that's whenever it's time to take a step back and, like, hang on, let's reevaluate how did we get here
Yeah,
and what would make me comfortable, what would make you comfortable, and let's go back to the most conservative point until we're
exactly.
ready to move forward.
Yeah, yeah, no, completely. And like I feel like that happen. It's so common. You know, you go into the groups and you see people. You don't see people for months, and you don't even
Hmm.
see anything writing. Then like that, I think we're all on the same page. You know, it's just like nobody talks about it,
Yeah.
about this stuff. Or they do, they're not talking about it with us.
I mean, there are times that I see people that come back and they say, oh, I had to take a break and then apologize for it. But, anybody that's listening, you don't have to apologize for taking a break. You can step in and out anytime you want. It is fluid. It is smooth like butter. You don't have to say anything. Nobody's business what you're doing.
Not at all.
Like,
Not at all. And you and like always too, we have made friends on this lifestyle too that are friends that I mean I can just go to a barbecue with them, and like most people are like that. Most because I mean we're all people at the end of the day, right? We're not nothing taboo like that is happening in our lives. At that point, we just have something in common. We have a hobby in common.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, so and you can be that kind of couple, and you know it's okay to be the kind of couple that is just horny and wants to go fuck around. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, I mean, if you're that kind of couple, just be upfront on what you want, and like, you don't want to be really good friends with people. Some people don't like that, so expect less interactions and
Hmm.
expect not to actually have what you want. You know, if you're just coming in horny. But I mean,
Yeah.
not to say you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's your style of you. That's where you're gonna come in. There's other people that come in that way too, and everybody turns out happy. It's just don't.
There's all the variations. It
Yeah,
goes all the way from absolutely zero connection, zero communication beforehand, just doing the deed, to the other side of the coin, which is I have to have a full on relationship. I've had to have gone to dinner with them beforehand.
yeah,
Something that I want to, I guess, talk about in this podcast, in the Lifestyle 101 podcast, is the basic information that is like, what as a beginner do you wish you would have known, and how do you wish you would have like seeked it out? And labels are one of those things that it's like it's all over the place. Like everybody has a different definition, and like we were talking about before we started this episode, like a vixen stag is it can have the identity of a hot wife, but a hot wife isn't always a vixen stag.
yeah, exactly. Because you had the whole wife with the cock, and then and then also touching. I was just thinking about this, like not just the different labels within the lifestyle and within like swingers and poly, which is within itself labels, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
you also have like for us, actually, we get into the BDSM scene first more
Mm-hmm.
than
That's so
anything. So at
true.
that point, you know, like you're talking about a dom versus submit a sub, and then you're talking about pleasure doms, and you have all these other things out there. So I mean,
So
labels are very important for depending on the case you are in too, because you wouldn't go into a dumb sub thing calling yourself a hot wife.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, and you know what? That's actually a really good point and something
Right?
that we should clarify. Where we come from and our dynamic and what our labels are for ourselves. Because I feel like that's going to also give context to where we come from for like the purpose of the entire podcast.
Yeah.
Because like in the umbrella of ethical non-monogamy, there are so many different facets from polyamory to swinging, friends with benefits, all of like everything. And then there's the kink community, like
Yeah.
you said, the BDSM. And from our perspective, we're in the lifestyle and like the swinger community. But I mean, it definitely does have a lot of Venn diagram overlap with like the poly community. We generally, because of our dynamic, don't like play around with poly partners just for the relationship dynamics
Yeah.
and past relationship situations. But
Unless you're a poly swinger.
yeah, we love poly swingers.
Yeah,
as
poly
long as
swingers all day. Just know that we're swingers.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, it comes down to what your relationship dynamic ultimately reflects.
Yeah.
And then that's how you identify a name. So like in the umbrella of things, there's a poly, and then there's open, and there's swingers. So we're on the swinger side.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's many more. That's just the ones we
That's
mostly come.
for the basics. That's
Yeah.
just the 101.
Just the basic, the 101, baby. I forgot where we were.
So like I mean to explain that a little bit better. So as a vixen stag dynamic, we basically are our primary partners with each other, and we don't have any outside relationships. We don't have any other emotional attachments to anybody else. So we mostly do things for fun, but we're full swap. So it's like, if we're having a good time and we're on the same page and we consent and we like the couple that we're hanging out with, we like to share.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I definitely love to share, which is comes to the Vixen Stag. I think the Vixen Stag is more like I like to hot wife my wife, but I'm not there to just watch. Like I can please her very well.
yeah, exactly.
In there, so like it's not like we're seeking. It's more of the seeking the what is that called the I think it's more of the taboo kind of side of it, right? Like no, I shouldn't allow guys to fuck my wife. I shouldn't be allowed to share, but I don't know. It gives me proud to share you. I mean, you're so fucking hot. You are so fucking.
I mean, that's
Shouldn't
a lot
be cursing,
of
maybe. Should I be cursing? Can I curse?
You're okay.
I can curse? Okay.
Yeah, it's an 18 and over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to mention sponsorships.
I mean, because of the nature of the podcast, I don't want to hold back either, because then it doesn't get the information out. I feel that's exactly how everything's been censored, to the extent that it's hard to find.
I like guys to fornicate with my wife. Yeah. And she likes watching me fornicate with girls.
Yeah, that's true. We'll talk about it one day. Compersion, it's a fun thing, but not a thing until you get into the lifestyle. Honestly, I never heard that word until getting into the lifestyle.
Yeah, I think I just heard it now.
Really? Just kidding. I was like, what?
Say it again, though.
Compersion. The act of finding pleasure and watching someone else seek or enjoy pleasure.
Ooh.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Another label, like you can label that feeling. You can, being able to finally identify that, then you can seek into it. You can hone into it.
Yeah.
And become better at it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was definitely me getting into the lifestyle.
So how you first started finding out about labels?
Well, mostly whenever I was trying to figure out what I would call myself. Do I call myself a hot wife, or do I call myself a vixen? Do I call myself a unicorn? What am I?
Right? Yeah, it was very a lot of Reddit reading and a lot of Facebook what is that called? Groups.
Yeah.
A lot of information that was kind of hard to find, a little bit like good information, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't hard to find, but it's a little hard to find.
Yeah, it was information you had to find in like comment sections and infographics posted in random private groups.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize it would be so hard to find. But
right.
People tend to enjoy their privacy and discretion in the lifestyle, which will also be a future episode.
Right.
It is a whole other ball game.
Yeah, another whole episode.
There's a whole other episode. Yeah, obviously we're not the most discreet, but we do abide by
But
others.
we do like our
Ask for
discretion.
discretion. So, and we do like ours whenever we ask for it to be
Yeah,
discreet.
that's true.
Yeah. So I want to hear about how you heard about ethical non-monogamy. Like, what opened your eyes to the E&M community and to the lifestyle? Because
Yeah,
you actually are the one that brought us into it.
that's true. I did. But okay, so when it started whenever I told you I was bi, right? Like I started like having feelings about like hey, maybe I'd like doing things with guys too. And I'd always been very sexual. I also like I've been also very sexual, and you never been like the most sexual person uh at the beginning, right? Like so it was
Mm-hmm.
mostly me being sexual and me trying to find things of that nature. So being how sexual I always been, I think part of the reason why we were so well, or why I was able to tell you that I was bisexual, is that I'd always been since I was being very sexual, I never been able to like it felt always taboo to my sexuality feels very taboo, and I feel like that aligned with my bisexuality. So everything sexual, even though it's very sexual, you didn't know it really because I wouldn't be like very sexual towards you. I would bother you a lot, but you
Mm-hmm.
didn't know why. You know what I mean? You understood that I was horny, but why was I horny all the time? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and to be honest, now that we've been together for a while, I'm probably the less horny nowadays than I ever was before I even told you I was bi. Right? Like it's crazy how that worked out. I mean, I'm just thinking about it right now as we're talking. And that
Well,
worked
I
out a
think
little
it
bit.
comes with like age and also understanding now what you want and having the ability to actually
Say it and
follow,
act it.
yeah,
Yeah.
say it and then follow through with it.
Right.
Like,
Like I think
oof,
that's one of the
so
things
many
that
fantasies that have
so
come
many.
out of it.
Yeah, well, and a fantasy that I already had before that I wasn't able to tell anybody until I started telling you, and that kind of released that tension that I had in my head with all these sexual things that I wanted to do. Uh,
I mean, that's true actually. Like a lot of once you started like looking into it, and we started communicating more, that's and started actually trying to identify our labels. We started communicating better and understanding what we
yeah,
wanted better.
yeah, exactly. And as well, but then that kind of got me to start looking into things, right? Like, because you say, like, well, yeah, let's see if we find a guy. So, like, how do we find a guy? First of all, how do we do that? Do we just go to a bar and start doing that? So, I guess that
Yeah.
started like opening my eyes to the lifestyle and like what swinger was. Because I mean, the most common things whenever you try to find that is for straight people only
Yeah.
kind of deal. Which I mean, nothing wrong with that. But it's a community, and I'm not saying like I'm not saying like it's bad, but I mean it was really fun trying to find it my on my side because like it was all straight, but then I mean obviously I'm bi, not like gay. So I was like, oh my god, I get to sleep with other women too
Yeah.
through this way. So I started introducing you, like we started playing with the idea. I mean, I told you about it, and you say, well, let's look into it. I think.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think it did take a little bit of hesitation at first. Like, it took a little bit of swallowing my pride and not thinking that it was something against me. But
Yeah, yeah.
once that happened,
Yeah. Well, when it was
it
also like
was,
working in a relationship, right? Like, I mean, maybe I think whenever it happened, it was too early, and we were going through stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think one of the most important things is also
it's
we
true.
all have to be aligned for it to actually go into the lifestyle.
It's true.
So, I mean, it got us thinking. I think it got us thinking at the beginning
Yeah.
about it, but then that got us thinking about our relationship too, and like, okay, how can we get it there first? Because it wasn't like we're gonna jump into something like that out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
It took us a while to get there, and we got there. But
That's true. I guess that's a part of why I would consider the label part of the process, one of the initial and most important aspects to being in the lifestyle community. So, like, this is a good part to kind of give a backstory of like where I think I first learned about the lifestyle more than, like doing my research, just like how I heard about it in the wild was through like some mutual friends. I've had threesomes in the past, like we talked about,
okay, we talk
Oh,
about
we've talked about it.
it.
I've had some really fun, risque situations in the past, but I never really thought about like anything more than that. But like until we became friends with a couple that I felt like ended up trying to they try to use me emotionally for their own gain and push you out of the picture
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
And that really burned whenever they did that to us. And so, then whenever we started talking to our other friend about that, and they started telling us like, oh, well, that sounds like a kitchen table polydynamic. And that's whenever I first realized like there's so much more to the ENM umbrella that I had no idea about. And that's whenever it started clicking the dots in my brain that like, there's other options. It doesn't have to be poly. Like, I
Right.
feel like poly had become such a huge trend. It has become such a huge trend. And I don't know that, and it goes both ways. There's, people that call themselves poly that are actually swingers, and then people that are actually swingers that should be calling themselves poly. But I think it comes from a lack of ability to like locate the information quickly and easily as we saw as we went through it. But finding that label also took us through a long journey, and that's how we got through our communication trials and tribulations and learning how like what we're looking for in the lifestyle. Whenever we're finding our label, that's how like we found the label, was identifying those keen interests.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're saying that that's thanks to a bad interaction with a friend that were in a poly relationship, you were able to find more
I was able to see the bigger picture.
yeah,
And
like
yeah.
more things in there. Okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. So
They're working out for the best. Haha.
in hindsight, if they would have just told me what was going on, like I would have had a better understanding. Like I feel like it wouldn't have been so fumbled.
I don't think they knew labels either.
But also, yeah, I don't think that they were informed
I don't
either.
think they were informed at all.
I think they're in that cluster of people that are in the bandwagon of Rapali, but without actually identifying why.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe now they are. I don't know. It's been years ago now. Who knows what they are now? Who knows? They probably learned by now. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so.
I always hope for people to do the best.
I know, me too. I'm really grateful ultimately that it happened to us, because then we were able to explore the crazy depths of our sexuality, and now we like to go to events, and
yeah, wow.
Now we know a lot of what we like, and there's still a lot more to figure out every time. I feel like
everything what?
Every time we go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Like every single time it's like a new thing, but I love finding out now. Like, I mean, it's pretty fun now.
Yeah.
But it was a little more scary, It's like, oh my god, more things. I hope I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hope a relationship could go through that. You know what I mean? Because at the beginning, you think you have to figure out too.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a rocky beginning. Like that's
like it's hard not to have a rocky beginning. Because I mean, how can you expect to see your loved one that you never seen with anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Even the most horniest guy that I've seen in the lifestyle, they get humble when their wife wants somebody else.
Yeah, that's true.
Or vice versa, when their husbands want somebody else. Like you think you got it, and you may not. You might like it. You may not. I mean, the only way to really find out is to go through
it. Yeah. Well, and then even that is a learning curve, because then you have to figure out like the labels for that too. Like, is the couple going to be a soft swap? Are they going to be a full swap? Are they going to be
right, full swap?
Are they going to be a bull?
And more labels. There you go. Soft swap. Full swap. Get you a dictionary with all this stuff. Actually, Silver, don't you have to show them?
Actually, right here, we're going to take a pause. Peep the screen for common keywords. But I'm also going to be creating an episode where I'm going to talk about the different tools and resources and how we can band together as a community to have better
So you're telling me this is going to be a whole 101?
Oh, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
It's a whole podcast, a whole 101, a whole what?
Yeah, it's like a whole 101. In
fact, can you tell them more?
Yes. Okay, so what you can expect from future episodes, I have a whole 101 planned out, including relationship dynamics for our next episode. After that, we're going to go over different expectations. And by different expectations, there are so many different variations of that type of phrase. So expectations of you by others, expectations of others by you. I have a few different ideas on that, but we'll see. Comparison, red flags, discretion, rejection, all kinds of things. I'm really excited to go through each of the different episodes. It's a learning process all the time. Jesus,
maybe we can. This is what. Sorry.
I was gonna say you and I have only been in it for like 2 years. I mean, but it's been 2 very solid years, 3 years maybe now. We're coming up on that mark. But we've really dived into it head on from the moment that we started. So.
Oh yeah. Because we don't do anything halfway.
Okay, so before we wrap up, Jesus, I want you to tell me about your favorite moment that you've had most recently in the lifestyle.
Okay, my favorite moment that I had most recently in the lifestyle.
Yes.
It will have to be the most recent event we went to. For PX, that was a hotel takeover. That was our first hotel takeover. That was pretty awesome.
That was our first hotel takeover. It was really cool, right?
Right? That was pretty awesome to have a whole hotel. Like, dude, I got excited to go to more hotels.
Oh
like,
my gosh. Yeah.
Right?
We've been to some parties and we've been to a festival. Actually, I helped organize Sooner Swing, which is a Midwest festival. Shout out Sooner Swing if you are in Oklahoma or Arkansas or any of those regions.
Or on the border,
or on the border. You should go to the event. It's probably going to be in May or June of this year. Yeah. But anyways, we went to a hotel takeover with PX
this time. And they're gonna have they're gonna have, I think, 2 or 3 more already planned out, or they're still looking at the kinks right now. They're still working out like a couple things.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna have another one, which I don't think we're gonna be able to make it.
Probably not, just because it is so far away at this point.
Yeah,
it's like 16 hours from us.
Yeah, exactly. That's a long time. But you never know.
Yeah, that's true. You never know what's in the cards. But so what was your favorite part about that hotel takeover?
Oh man, the whole party was fun. We had a really good interaction with a really good couple that we both really like. We saw our friends really. We saw all of our friends that we haven't seen in a while. We hooked up with another couple we're really connected with.
Right. I know.
We're very slutty sometimes.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. I mean, we get tested really, but we definitely like to have a good time. And this time we didn't have any group instances. I don't think.
What do you mean group instances?
I mean, we swapped.
Orgies.
Yeah, we didn't have any orgies.
No orgies this time, which is very rare for us.
I know.
Orgies.
Normally, that's the thing. That's why we like going to clubs and
that's our thing. But I said, things are changing. We're changing. We've been going through fantasies after fantasy after fantasy.
It's true. I guess after you have an orgy so many times, then it starts.
I mean, no. Don't put orgies. God, what a minute! What are you doing, girl? Let's.
That's true. I guess I'm just more into the GBs these days.
Yeah, no, but hey, I like orgies. How dare you? Just kidding. You can dare.
That's true, but this time it was more focused on the relationships that we made there, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because as we're talking about labels, and falling into that whole are we friends with benefits? Are we lifestyle? Are we swingers? Are we poly? At first, whenever we started this, it was so cut and dry. No relationship, no feelings. Don't want to cross that boundary, right, and that's why we had that really strict no crossing that line with pre-existing vanilla friends.
Yeah, that's another thing that we have is a line between
anybody that was vanilla prior is completely off limits. No matter what.
Not that we ever had a thought oh my god
it's to avoid anybody thinking.
It's really what well, yeah, I know, but but I'm saying most of the time the rules started from us because we still have a vanilla life and we still have our lifestyle friend. And to be honest, I never want to go into an event that is vanilla. I mean, thinking anything sexual, really. You know what I mean? I don't want to meet new people and be like, oh, I'm gonna try to fuck them or anything like that. That's not my horniness. My horniness is with the people that want to be horny with me nowadays too. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's more like I see the lifestyle, and that's why I like that it's a community, and there's always people coming in and out. And they announce themselves to be that, because that kind of allows my brain to be like, oh, okay, you can think of it sexually. Yeah. As my friends that I have friends with, I really don't think of them sexually at all. It's that button that you had. Not I hope my friends don't think of me sexually. if they do, I mean, I am cute, but I would prefer you not to.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Exactly. It's funny how, like, for so many years I was conditioned to believe, like, stop looking at me like that. But I mean, I still feel that way for the people that were my pre-existing vanilla friends.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's why I like making the lifestyle friends now. Or maybe I should rephrase that. Not so much that I like making lifestyle friends now, as much as a large part of why I'm so vocal about it is so that I don't have to separate. I don't have to divide anymore internally, because it would have been me and you dividing that out internally between our relationship and our friends externally.
Wait, so what are you
Right.
saying?
So like, I am able to, if I am loud about, or if I'm open, I should say, about being in the lifestyle, then everybody knows, and then I don't have these new friends that are only vanilla friends. Going forward, our friends are friends that know that we're in the lifestyle, so it's an open thing, and I don't ever have to be like,
That's true. We don't have
"Oh,
the
you're a
difference.
vanilla friend. I can't talk to you about this. It's not
Yeah,
appropriate."
exactly.
I don't have that anymore, because now everybody is aware. It's not a secret. It's not like I'm trying to keep that hidden to you and I, that I have this secret identity.
Yeah,
You know?
which is the way we prefer it. I mean, we understand people wanting to keep it a secret.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
like,
I get it
yeah,
why people do
I
that,
get it
but
too. But like, I also like we live. I think it's also we live two different lives for so long for something else. You know what I mean? Just for the way we like to express ourselves.
Mhm.
Like meaning like our festivals and all those other stuff that we like to do. We're never been shy to show who we are.
That's true.
And
Not gonna
and
start
we're
now.
not about to start now.
True that.
Right? Like, I mean, that's just who we are, and that's who we like to be, and that's the way we can be as honest as we can. Because I think we're very honest people, and I like to think that the honesty just extends to everything we do.
That's
Everything.
true.
Like, not to say like just because you hide yourself you're dishonest or anything like that. It's just that it's easier for us to be honest
Mhm.
than what I can tell other people. Or you know what I mean? That's we always you always know where you stand with us.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's true. It's easier to be transparent than it is to try to keep it hidden.
Right? Like I mean, and that's with
Tell.
everything, right? Like I mean, as part of like what you learn through the relationship that or your relationship strength that you don't have, you can speak your mind, and if you're next to me, I mean, you're next to me. You know what I mean? Like I speak my mind all the time, and you are willing to stay with me. I feel like that's not, to an extent I expect that of people as well. You know, like I mean, I would say I'm more lenient. I'm not gonna expect you to stay with me. Like if I have some crazy idea that you don't agree with, right? I expect that from my partner, not from a friend. But I guess I'm going in circles here. But, but the whole point of that is to say like I can be very open with you, so that allows me to be very fast. I can be very forward with you. That allows me to be very forward with everybody else that I know.
It's true. I do think
Like,
that practicing our communication techniques between us helps build that communication ability with other
yeah,
people in the lifestyle.
yeah, and not only lifestyle,
Provide
just
them with,
life,
yeah,
right? Like
and
I mean,
life.
like straight up, like we are more vocal to our parents, to our friends,
It's
to
true. This has
anybody.
been a year
Like
for boundaries and figuring out exactly what we're trying to say.
right, and boundaries for me also. Like if we're gonna talk about boundaries, I think boundaries for me are rules that like that you should be engaging like towards me, and it's not like I'm gonna drop you because you don't respect those boundaries. I'm just not gonna hang out with you
Mm-hmm.
as much as I would like to because I don't want to. I don't have to. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, now they have this so many boundaries and boundaries. Like I don't see anything wrong with boundaries. If you don't want to have them, you don't have to. Like I'm never gonna force anybody to be next to me with my boundaries.
Yeah.
But that's my expectation of you.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I do have another episode planned for boundaries only, in addition to the.
Man, look at you,
I know,
girl.
I know. And then I already have a few shorts out from my pre-podcast Lifestyle 101. It's the only
Yeah.
topic that I've already kind of dived into.
Well, where can they find us, babe?
Well, they can find us on Silver Luna's Vault, is where my podcast will be released on both YouTube and eventually Spotify. I'm sure by the time this is released and you're listening to it, it will be on Spotify. But it is a learning curve, and it will be dropped bi-weekly, alternating from my other podcast, Going Goddess. So I do recommend checking out Going Goddess if you're interested in learning how to become a baddie with me.
I love the first episode.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you. It was so much fun. My friend Cherry and I are on a mission to go Goddess together. So Going Goddess is dropped every other Wednesday. It will be out again next week. So I'm really excited for the upcoming podcasts that we have on the horizon. I have a bunch of other guests that I intend to be interviewing as I move along through these 101 episodes, but primarily my main goal is to get the message out about the lifestyle so that there's less miscommunication, less stigma, less irrationality that's tied to a belief that people don't know or understand. I mean, I know that I just dealt with this with my mom.
Yeah.
And it's, it's a learning curve, but I am excited to like grow on this journey as well as my own self-empowerment journey. And I hope that other people can learn from it as I do so. So thank you guys for tuning in to the first episode. Please like and subscribe. Again, this is a brand new channel, so I am so
like and subscribe. This is a new channel.
I hope to teach you a lot. If you have any recommendations, any topics that you'd like to dive into, anything 101 related, please feel free to leave a comment or send me an email. Happy to book as well. If you find any other guests, send them my way. Thanks, guys.